Well, I am with Dr. Susan Ziegler, and I'm kind of excited because you're from the you do English literature, and that's similar to the area that I like to do, which is film. We have a lot in common because we're looking at story and diegesis and everything that goes in and out of story and creates it and all. And we get our language and film studies from your language of literature. And so this is kind of exciting for me. And you are taking students to the UK. So I want to hear all about when you're going, how many students you're going to be taking, and what sorts of things you're going to be doing in this program for education abroad.
Sure. Thank you so much. It's lovely to be talking to you and to tell you about the program. So it'll be next year, June 2021. The exact dates are the 21st of June to the 23rd of July. So June, July. First summer session will be right in central London. So the whole time will be spent in London, and we are not out in a suburb. We are right in the heart of the city, close to everything that we're going to be doing.
Are the students going to be able to use the tube to get around town? I've been to London several times. So are they going to be using the tube and learning how to navigate all that?
Exactly. That is a big part of the course. So they will have tube passes, they'll be taking the bus, they'll be walking, they'll be taking the train. All of that is part of the project.
So how will this relate? Is this, what's the official title of this course content? What kinds of things will you be learning?
The course is called Modern Literary London, and it covers British literature that's set in London from around 1800 to the present. And so what we're doing is we're reading poems and novels and stories and sketches that are set in London while we're there, so that we're living in London, immersed in the city as we're kind of, coming to learn about it and reading literary representations of it.
So what made you decide to go to London for this, in specific for English literature? Have you been there before, or is this some place where you think a lot of the stories take place? I'm a big Charles Dickens fan, so that would be where I would start with this.
Yeah, Dickens is on the syllabus, very much so. So my area of expertise is 19th century British literature, and London becomes the major world city in the 19th century. It's the seat of the British Empire. And so everything we study in 19th century British literature, engages with the phenomenon of London, which is growing and encountering all of the problems of modernity. So it's key to the field, but also I have a personal connection to London, which is that I lived there from 1999 to 2000. I have a master's degree in the history of science, and so I was a student there. And I married someone who is from London, and we went back over the years. And so I spent about 20 years visiting London fairly often. And so it's a city that I know quite well, and it's very close to my heart.
For students that are really concerned about how this might affect and benefit them for future career, how would you address that?
Oh yeah, so this is a fantastic thing to do if you're interested in career building, because part of what we're doing, since we're in the city and we're reading about the city, is getting around the city. And so I'm with the students, of course, and the students are taken care of and everything is safe, but they are also encouraged to be independent and get themselves around. And that's part of the adventure. So when we read Mrs. Dalloway, the students have to go off on the routes that the characters take and find the monuments and find the route and do it themselves. And so this kind of encounter, I think, gives you a lot of confidence as a student to go to another country, to learn how to handle yourself, figure things out. That's something that you can come back and it counts as international experience. It's like you're not employed there, you're a student, but nonetheless, when you go to get a job, it shows that you can think on your feet, you can improvise, you've built up some confidence that you can meet some challenges. And
I would also say that students would be able to show that they have learned to navigate something unusual for them, which means that they're going to actually be better at problem solving.
Yes, definitely. Because you're in a foreign place, things mostly go smoothly, but sometimes they don't. So,
yeah. Oh yeah. So, you mentioned Mrs. Dalloway in feminist literature. of course, Virginia Woolf is a very important character. And the thing that's really nice, I think, when you're studying authors from a different land is when you are in the area that they were in, you can get a much better sense of what their perspective was at the time and why they were writing the way they were writing. Because I think sometimes in modern times, we don't think in terms of historicity. We don't think in terms of putting ourselves back to the mindset of what was going on in that time. When you go back into it and you start understanding what it was like to live that way, there's just so much historic in London that, I mean, I think about the princes in the tower. You start to, or you do that long walk across where you go from the castle over to where the tower is, and you start to really understand what it was like looking over the Thames and seeing Big Ben and understanding what life is like there. Then you really start to understand why people's perspective, even though you might even be an Anglophile, their perspective is very different and why they approach things the way they do. I think that's really kind of exciting too.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of what literature is all about, is adopting for a little while the perspective of someone else, being inside their mind, seeing with their eyes. And so being in the places where they are, represented to have been, being in London, it precisely gives that. And that's part of the thrill of traveling as well to somewhere very different, is that all of your senses and your perceptions wake up because everything is stimulating, everything is new. And that's just a fantastic, it kind of energizes the mind. It's a fantastic experience that I think constantly challenges all of us on a cellular level. So
What are the prerequisites for this course?
the prerequisites are upper division standing, but it's or the permission of the instructor. So I'm happy to give permission to whoever wants to do this course, till we fill up all of our slots. So no one should let the prereq requirement, stop them. Just
How many students are you hoping to take?
18.
Great, great
Yeah.
number, especially since they can go off in groups of 2 and 3 and go do things too.
Yes, the other nice feature of this program, the way it's set up, is that we meet in class 4 days a week. The students always have late afternoon and evening to do whatever they like in London, and they have 3 days on the weekend to travel outside of London. And because the UK has this wonderful, mostly affordable rail structure, you can go to Manchester, you can go to Bristol, you can go to Paris, which is 2.5 hours away on the Eurostar. So
Right.
there's lots of opportunities to see things beyond London as well.
Wonderful. If students want to get a hold of you through email to get any specifics that we are not covering here, or they have special concerns, what email would you want them to reach you at?
I'd love for them to email me at susan.zieger@ucr.edu, and my name is spelled SUSAN.ZIEGER.
Well, it sounds wonderful. And is there anything else that you'd want to add before we end this discussion about this wonderful trip that you're going to take students on?
Yeah, I'll just say that I did this in 2018 and it was a blast. Everyone enjoyed it. It was really transformative. The students who did it are still in touch with each other. You can bring a friend along, but you're going to make friends on the trip with people you haven't met yet. And you're going to be living with them in dorms at the University College of London, right in the center. It's a fabulous, fabulous experience. And it's very good value, I would say. If you think about what you're getting, 8 credits, university credits, a month in central London, the experience of a lifetime, the job experience, you can't replicate that.
No,
You can
can't.
visit London later if you save up a lot of money, and you can go there as a tourist, but it's not going to be the same. So it may seem like a stretch to many students to, try to afford this or take time off of work and do it. But I really encourage you, if you're all interested, send me an email and, let's see what we can do. You can apply for financial aid, you can apply for money. Really do it. If it seems like it's at all a possibility, just look into it now and go for it.
And I remember that the deadline to apply is January. So students have a little bit of time to talk this over with their parents or their or their partners or whoever it is they need to think about it with, and get in touch. Thank you so much. This is wonderful. It sounds like a great trip.
Thanks. Thank you very much for the conversation.